Hello guys, and welcome to another ProfileTree video. So in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the best web development software. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. Now, speaking of the best web development software, this can vary depending on the specific needs and preferences of a developer. Now, web development involves various tasks, and this is like writing code, designing user interfaces, you'll be managing databases, so that's backend code, and then of course you've got your testing and deploying your applications. So as a result, developers would want a combination of tools to cover the different aspects of the development processes. So right in front of us on this website, we've actually got visual code. Now this is, I would say, a great example of the different software tools that you can use. Now, this code editor is an IDE. So IDE meaning Integrated Development Environment. And Visual Studio Code, I would say, is a lightweight and highly customizable code editor. And it was developed by Microsoft themselves. Now, it offers an extensive range of extensions and support for multiple programming languages. You can see here we've got Python, we've got C and C Sharp, or C++, and then we got C Sharp. We've got extensions for Java as well. We've got a couple of different ones like Golang or Go, and then you've got Dart, PHP extension pack, Ruby. So you guys may have heard of these different development tools. Now, there's a couple of the different languages and quick overview of them actually. So you can click on JavaScript. You'll see some background on JavaScript and the sort of code that it uses as well. So that's just a little bit of insight to it. Shows you how to configure the different scripts as well. JS doc support. Now, you guys will know HTML as well. So HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. That's your three different programming languages to form a front-end development. Of course, we've got CSS, SCSS, and less. So they're just the different types. They're more or less the same. Of course, it's just SCSS. You would mainly use that if you're doing PHP or if you're also doing a little bit of Node.js. CSS, of course, you would just use that with HTML or if you're doing like ASP.NET, things like that. Anyway, it does offer .NET as well, so ASP.NET. You've got C++, Java, PHP, as I mentioned, Julia. You've got Ruby, PowerShell, TypeScript, Markdown. So quite a few options for this IDE. Now, just a little bit of background onto each language development tool. So you've got JavaScript, of course, which I've mentioned before. And I would say that this is a must-know language. As I've said, you will need it with HTML and CSS if you're trying to create a couple of different functions on your website. So it could be something to do with hover. Well, of course, you would mainly do CSS. So you could see if I'm hovering over terminal, you could see that's highlighting. So it may involve some JavaScript. Where you would use JavaScript as well is for e-commerce based websites. And what I would mean by e-commerce based websites is the basket. So you could use it for coding a basket to add items in. So that's a bit more of a complex way to do it, I would say, as well. Or you could use a CMS management tool, but we'll talk about that later on in the video. And anyway, we've got Python as well, which I've mentioned. So let's have a look at Python. Now, Python is a versatile and easy to read language, and it's known for its simplicity and readability. Now, it's widely used for the back-end code or development, so you'd be using it for web frameworks, and stuff would be like the Django and Flask, so that's what would facilitate the web application. Now, Python has a clean syntax and a large standard library, which makes it a popular choice for web development, especially for data-driven applications. So there's just an insight onto how to install Python and the Python extension. And of course, if you are going to be doing that, you can see if we open up the visual code, I'll actually show you now. So we do have options here. So currently this is PHP, but we'll talk about that later on. And then you can see here that we can install Python. So there's the Python pack there. So we could use that for Visual Code to Dev. And of course, the list of other ones that you could use is JavaScript. So if I type in JavaScript, we'll get JavaScript and PHP, which we are currently using. So that's the little elephant guy. There you go. So we're currently using that. There's debug tools as well. IntelliSense. Now you should have Ruby here as well. There should be Ruby. You can see that it supports Ruby. And see Golang. So we've got Golang as well. Now, the next one there is Java, so that's a robust and highly scalable language, and it's used for various types of web applications. Now, it's commonly used for enterprise-level web development, as it's known for its portability and platform independence. So there's a little bit about the coding language. So you can install that for Windows or Mac OS. You don't really, since you will have the Visual Code, you can pretty much download it from there. Now, next would be C#. We'll go ahead and look for C#. So there's C#. So that's another powerful language that's been developed by Microsoft. So it's commonly used with ASP.NET Framework for web development. So ASPX, and you would use that with CSS and HTML. Well, that would be sort of your HTML, the ASPX. Now, that's great for web development, of course, especially for building applications on the Microsoft technology stack. And then Golang, so this is this one. This is a statically typed and compiled language, and it's designed for simplicity and efficiency. Now, this coding language has actually gained some popularity for building web servers and APIs, and it's due to its performance and support. That's mainly why it's such a good application to use, or language to use. So now that we've discussed the different versions and languages on VS Code, we're going to go ahead and show you how to download the installer. So all you need to do is go to the actual setup. So depending if you're Linux, Mac OS, Windows, there's Raspberry Pi, there's a couple of different options there. Click on the one that is suited for you. You'll see an installation guide. So download the Visual Code installer. Go ahead and click on the installer itself. So you'll get a little pop-up on the bottom left there, just showing that the user setup is being downloaded. So that is pretty much that. And then once it is downloaded, run the installer. So that'll take a couple of minutes. You'll probably just get the user control, just asking if it's able to access it. And then once that's done, you could, well, it's by default, VS Code is installed under users, which is your username as well, app data, local programs, Microsoft VS Code. And then that is pretty much it. That is the user setup. So once you've got that opened, and get the terminal open then, so I'll go ahead and show you that now. Go ahead and open up your command prompt or terminal on macOS and type code dot. That'll then open up the Visual Studio Code, and that's pretty much it. So we could see that there's a couple of different projects that I have. So that's all located on the actual File Explorer. If you do want to find the path, you can just right-click and you can reveal it in Explorer. So we'll do one as an example here. So your File Explorer will open up, and you can see we've got one here for High 5 Geography. And that's all connected to GitHub as well, so that all works fine. So we'll just close that off. And if you are creating a brand new, say, a web application, you may want to start using different parts like Composer or XAMPP or WAMP. There's a couple of different control panels you can use. So say we're going to create a PHP web application, or if we want to create a Python or anything like that, it just requires a couple of words. So we've got Composer installed in this one, so that'll just verify it for us that we've got Composer, you can see. And if I want to maybe create a project, that's easy enough. So we'll just say Composer create project, and then we can do Laravel /Laravel, and then of course the name of the project. So we'll just say PT tutorial. Hopefully this works. So now it's going to create a Laravel project. Now that will occur for any sort of PHP language that you're using. So if you're using like Craft CMS, or it'll be instead of Laravel, it'll be Composer, create project, and then it'll be Craft CMS /Craft. Then that'll just write all your stuff for you, or download everything. You can see that it's doing its thing. So it's installing and downloading. So that's now creating a file on our directory. So as you can see, Laravel has now installed and it is successful. Now, if you want to CD into it, you can. So CD PT tutorial and then open up code, and that will just open up the visual code for you, and you can see what you have. So it's as easy as that. But there you go, guys. Ultimately, the best language for web development, of course, depends on your specific needs for your project and, of course, your team expertise. Now, if you do want to start from scratch, you may want to look into the front-end development, and JavaScript, I would say, is the safer choice. Now, before I do end the video, I would say the safest choice is to use CMS, and this is completely great for anyone that doesn't have any coding skills at all. And just to demonstrate, I'll actually go ahead and search up Wix, or I'll actually search up Squarespace. We'll do Squarespace instead. So Squarespace, Wix, Shopify, they're all based off CMS, and the background coding language that we used to create it was PHP. So they're more or less the same. So here's the popular designs that you can go for. There's plenty of different templates, easy to set up. You've got portfolio, memberships, blogs, you've got events, food, entertainment. So a list of different options in terms of CMS, and I would 100% recommend this, as I said, if you don't have any coding language at all. Now, running the domains is easy. It's easy enough to get set up with domains. It's easy enough to set up your own SEO. It's all given for you. So if we go ahead and click on a website, so we'll do one of these ones as an example. So then you'll be given the general setup here. Click next, get started. And yeah, as you can see, you've got options there for pages. You've got design, commerce, marketing, scheduling, asset library, and the most important one, which is to edit your front end. So you don't even need to think about your back end at all. This is all front end development without any coding at all, which is great. So we'll just click on edit here, see if this works. It's taking a little minute. And you can see I'm able to edit the header, and then I'm able to edit the hero section, so I can add blocks into that. I can add some text. So if I click on text, what's great about this is it is, as I said, a drag and drop developer. So I can have it here, I can write, so things like that. And of course I can go ahead and delete it. So that's what makes CMS a very useful platform to work a website on. But there you have it, guys. There are several different options for you to work a web development on. Now, whether you are technically skilled in coding, go ahead and use some of the different software that we went through, which is Visual Studio Code. And of course, there are other applications out there that offer the different languages that you can use for building a website. And of course, if you're not so technical, then as I said, you can go ahead and use the likes of a CMS content management system like Squarespace or Wix or Shopify. And from here, you'll be able to build a front-end web design without the hassle of thinking, what do I need to code? How do I code? And on top of that, what is the back-end code? All of that you can completely ignore just by click, drag, and drop on a content management system website builder. So guys, hopefully this video has been helpful, and if it has, please do leave us a comment in the comment section below. Let us know how we got on. And other than that, I'll see you guys for the next video. Thank you very much for watching.